Is bright line eating really dangerous for you? We're going to talk about it in this video. Hey, welcome back if you're new. I'm Angela. I upload every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about ways that you can lose weight, especially if you suffer from binge eating disorder, binge eating addiction, yo-yo dieting, or if you are on the bright line eating program, or if you're trying to consider it or whatever. This video today is talking about how bright line eating could possibly be dangerous for you. And what inspired this video was a comment, and I'm going to put it on the screen and we're going to talk about this comment. I had recently done a video that's called Why Not to Do Bright Line Eating, in which I detail some of the complaints I have about the program. I will confess that some of the comments I made may not necessarily have been ideally true. Like, the one that really comes out to mind for me is that I complained about how some of the protein options on the program are not protein enough. And I want to say that, in fairness, I was rereading the cookbook for Bright Line Eating, and Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson, the founder of the program, basically detailed, like, if you're going to have, non-dairy milk as a protein, you need to balance it out with nuts or something else like that, because she even mentioned that's not enough protein. But I'm like, don't even give people the option of not enough protein. Like work it out in your program that you're like, non-dairy milk is a condiment, it's not a protein. If you have 30 calories in a cup of non-dairy almond milk, that's not a protein, that's a condiment. Like, half a cup of that is a condiment. It's 15 calories. Like, in other diets, they're like, mustard is a condiment. So in Bright Line Eating, like, make that a condiment. Anyway, I totally digress on a tangent. But what I wanted to say is a lot of people had comments on that video, and many of them were comments from people who are very defensive about Bright Line Eating because the program has worked for them, and that's great. I'm looking at you, Tommy. I'm looking at you. But the rest of the people who commented were like, this program messed me up. Like, it really did me wrong, and like, I am way worse off than I ever would have been had I not even tried the program, and that's how I feel. So although I don't regret doing the program, because I do feel that I learned a lot, and I've talked about that in previous videos, like, I learned to see vegetables as more approachable. I learned how to consider, not having to eat so frequently, like maybe just 3 meals a day is okay. But I want to read for you this one particular comment, because this entire comment summarizes a big feeling that I have when it comes to Bright Line Eating, and in particular, 2 sentences in it are really what stand out to me. This comment says, and it's from a user named S, that's literally this user's name, is just, the username is S. The quote-unquote doctor in question is not a medical doctor. She's a psychologist. Big difference. It is extremely irresponsible to recommend Bright Line Eating to anyone with a history of any eating disorder. Sorry, it's my dog. It is far worse to advertise this company as an alternative treatment to eating disorders, as it was to me and everyone who was in the 5th Bright Line group with Dr. Joy. You take highly vulnerable people and brainwash them into thinking this cult is the only way forward. Most of those people relapsed or developed new eating disorders as a result of Bright Line Eating, myself included. Over 2 years later, I'm still trying to undo the damage this company caused. The 2 sentences that really stand out to me are how it referenced Bright Line Eating as a cult, which Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson has talked about. It's not a cult, and she's done an entire video on that. But I still see that there are some cultish tendencies where people are like, it's our way or the highway. And I definitely have a problem with that, because I usually try to qualify in my videos like, hey, this is what's working for me. You may have a different path. Your experience may be different. But one of the things I've seen is that a lot of the Bright Line eaters are like, this is the only way. Food addiction and, abstinence, food abstinence and moderation doesn't work, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, that's your experience. That is not necessarily the experience of other people who are trying the program. So they say, if you're a 10 out of 10 on the food susceptibility scale, which I am, they're like, you cannot do moderation. And I'm like, I believe that there is a way to learn moderation. You have to work with your brain and use the science that Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson is always talking about, and work with your brain and not against your brain. I think that Bright Line Eating can set you up for failure. I'm reading the book Resume that Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson just came out with, and I have to be careful because it is a very compelling, I think Dr. Susan herself is very compelling, and I listen to what she has to say, and I have to be careful because I'm like, she will convince me to do Bright Line Eating again against all odds, that I have tried it for a year and it did not, it's not something that I can make work for me. I have to be careful because she can really sucked me in. Like, she's very compelling, you know, it's very convincing. So I just have to be careful, because for me, I'm choosing not to do the program. But again, this is my experience. This is not necessarily yours. Maybe you want to do it. I don't know. I respect you if you do. She always says eyes on your own plate. And that to me is what bright line eating people need to do, is keep your eyes on your own plate. The biggest problem that I have with bright line eating is that so many people, I'm talking so many people, try the program and it makes us worse. And that comment also summarized the way I feel. I know for a fact that because of bright line eating, my binge eating became worse than it ever has in my entire life. Like, I don't think I've ever had binges that severe, that frequent, and that long. Like, I think I had, like, at my worst point during the bright line eating year that I tried, I had 6 weeks of severe binges every day, and it was insane. And I gained like 30 pounds rapidly. I'm talking like boom, like that, within 6 weeks, 30 pounds. And I'm just like, this should not be happening. This is not good for my long-term health. It's not good for my heart. It's just not good for my body, and especially my mental health. Like, I felt really bad, you know? And I think that bright line eating can really set you up for failure. For the people who are successful in the program, that is amazing, and I'm happy for you. But I think statistically that number's low, and a lot of bright line eaters are going to come on here and say, oh, the data shows that that's not factual, because, you know, bright line eating tracks the people and they fill out surveys, da, da, da. And I'm like, what I want to tell you is there are way more people who are not filling out those surveys. There are people who just buy the book and then try it and then start binge eating. There are people who find my YouTube videos, like the video I did, how to do bright line eating, that the first 7 minutes is literally me singing the praises of the program. Then they start doing the program, but they never fill out any surveys. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who are trying bright line eating that are not filling out any data surveys from bright line eating. And I can tell this based on the number, like the volume, the sheer volume of comments I get on my YouTube channel, and the messages I get on Instagram, like the direct messages, as well as on Facebook and through email. I have had a lot of messages on each platform from people who say, your experience mirrors my own. I tried bright line eating, I lost weight, but then I started binge eating severely, like worse than I ever have before. And I'm like, I've heard this story from so many people. This is not a coincidence. There is a correlation here. There is a cause and effect. Now, I am not a PhD. I am not a scientist. I'm literally just, you know, this YouTube person that's like, hey, I want to talk about diet, binge eating, all these things. And I don't have any evidence other than anecdotally, but I'm getting so many of those comments and so many of these messages and so many emails that I'm like, something's going on here. I don't have a desire to go compile all of it and make an Excel spreadsheet and then start, you know, data processing and, you know, whatever. I don't want to make my own survey against bright line eating, but what I want to tell you is there's proof in the pudding. There's something going on here that I think a lot of people are not seeing, because bright line eating highlights their success stories, which is amazing. Truth be told, I do not fault bright line eating in any way at all. They're literally just another program that I think absolutely does work miracles for many, many, many people. And those are the people that you see are the shining superstar. But I'm like, there's so few of them. That's the problem. There's so few of the superstars and the, you know, the people that are like the crystal vasers and the ones who are doing the program. They're doing well. They don't fall off. They're doing great, you know, and then you've got the rest of us, and I'm telling you, I think that the rest of us are like 80% or more. Though I genuinely feel like if I just had to put a number, and again, I know Tommy's gonna come at me and be like, your data is wrong. Maybe it is, Tommy, I don't know, because I refuse to go be a scientist and get my PhD to, you know, prove my point. I genuinely feel like more than 80% of people who try bright line eating fall off of it, do not do well, and it worsens us. That is the downfall. That is what we have to be careful about. So take the information with a grain of salt and make your own informed, educated decisions that work for you, because you are the only person living your life. I am not living it for you. You can take my advice, or you can just say it's crap and just leave it alone. I respect whatever decision you make. I want to keep my eyes on my own plate, and you know, I just want to live my life and be healthy and like not have binge eating disorder, you know, prop up. And I think that bright line eating kind of made that worse. So that's why I'm really careful about it. Anyway, this video I know is a little bit defensive, but I've had some comments from people who are on bright line eating on my videos that are really like kind of coming at me. And I'm just like, don't do that. This is my channel. I'm just sharing my own opinion and experience, and you do you, boo, and I'm gonna do me, okay? But I love you. I will see you in the next video. Talk to you then. Bye.